My name is Henry Sontag. I was born just before the onset of World War I in 1914 in... Go ahead, you keep talking. I'm sorry, I try to fix this. Okay. I was born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, like I said before, World War I. And grew up in Vienna, in Austria. Like everybody else, everybody was normal. It was our home, was our country. And then everything has changed when the Germans occupied Austria. Hitler came to power in Germany in 1933. When the first refugees came to Austria, we wouldn't believe, nobody would believe. People disappearing, people arrested just for the crime of being Jewish. And later, in 1938, when I myself became a refugee, I fled to Belgium. We had the same reaction from the people in Belgium. You know probably what happened in the concentration camps and all around, so I won't dwell on this one. But what I want to talk about is about the people, and in those days, the German people and the surrounding countries, the occupied countries, the silence of the people against the crimes. That, first of all, most of them sincerely did not believe what was happening, because after all we were in the 20th century. But it happened, and the reaction and the indifference of the people, you know, the Pastor Niemöller, German pastor, he told the story that first they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up. I'm not Jewish. Then he said they came for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I'm not a communist. And then they came for homosexuals. I'm not a homosexual. I didn't speak up. But when they came to fetch me, to incarcerate me, nobody was left to talk. And that is the sad story of the circumstances that happened. When the Germans deported the Jews to concentration camps, they have very willingly helped us among the Polish people, among the Catholic people, among the Ukrainians. I was fortunately that I never was in a concentration camp per se. I was in forced labor camp. I was on the run from 1938 till I came to the United States, 1960. Hiding, running. In the morning, when we went up in the morning, we didn't know where we will eat at lunch. We didn't know where we will sleep at night. Always in danger to be caught by the Germans and to be sent to a concentration camp. Like I said before, the indifference of the people, they did not speak up, they did not want to get involved, and when they did, it was too late. And that was the result, that in this war about 30 million people perished. But the planning of the killing of the Jews, which was unique in the history of the world, the extermination and the silence and the help of the surrounding people. I lost in this war. 3 of my grandparents were still alive. I lost them. Their siblings, their children. I can't even count how many there were which from my family perished. You want me to continue?
If you can. If you can.
Yeah, I'm a little bit emotional right now. Huh?
We want to break a little bit?
Yes. Now, people who live a normal life in a normal country, I don't think they can imagine what it means to be in its own country, to become overnight a stranger, to have to run for your life, and to have to hide, and to have to depend on other people. Luckily, I must say, I survived because there were people, good people, who helped me, willingly or unwillingly. But also I have to admit that it was 90% luck, because every day when we were on the run, we were in danger to be caught. There were situations that we were caught, we were brought to the police, and with chutzpah and with hard thinking, and we escaped from there too. The news that came from the east, that the extermination camps and so forth, just were ignored, were pushed aside, and we were, before the war broke out, the Second World War, when I was in Belgium, I came to Belgium 1938, 1940 the Germans invaded Belgium. In May 1940, the Germans invaded Belgium. 2 weeks before the Germans invaded, the Belgian government must have known something, surrounded us, and we were 6,000 refugees arrested as enemy foreigners, because we had German or Austrian passports, or many of them even were apatrides, that means stateless. We were deported to France. France were in those days not divided, when the Germans advanced, we were evacuated from one camp, and we came to the foothills of the Pyrenees, and we were in a camp, living like animals in the sand, and there was a epidemic of typhoid fever. When we asked from the warden that we need help, there were many doctors among our refugees, among the inmates. They just said, we have 2 million people on the front, and we don't have enough medicine for them. Where should we give you medicine? Food was scarce, and the situation there was undescribable. France was in war, this is true, and they couldn't take care of us. So I escaped when there was a typhoid epidemic. I escaped from the camp, and we went to Toulouse. And from there on, up to the end of the war, running back and forth, going back to Belgium, and like I said, every day in danger to being caught. I want to come back what I thoughts were before of the intolerance of the indifference of the people. And I must say that the people in the occupied countries themselves lost many of their citizens because they didn't stand up to the authorities. After the war, I was in Belgium. I did not want to return to Austria for the obvious reasons. I left Belgium in 1951 for the Dominican Republic, and in 1960 was able to get a permit to come to the United States. I think that is it for the moment, right?
Are you done?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
After the World War, I went back to Belgium. I did not want to go back to Austria, for obvious reasons. In 1946-47, there was a rumor that the Soviets will occupy the rest of Europe. Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, all this belonged now to the Soviet bloc, and we just had enough to live under Hitler and to run. So I decided that that's it, and I want to leave Europe. When I applied for a visa for the United States, I was told that there's a quota system, and my quota will last about 5 to 10 years. In those days, my brother, who was with me, and he was able to leave France with one of the last ships in 1941, left for Dominican Republic, wrote to me, why don't you come here and wait for your quota? So we decided to move to Dominican Republic, which was in those days under the dictatorship of Rafael Trujillo. It was not nice to live under another dictatorship, but at least I was out of Europe. When the unrest started in the Dominican Republic, before they killed the dictator, before there was a coup d'etat, we were desperate. I wanted to get out. So I went to the American consulate to make a new application. And under the application there was a question, have you ever applied to come to the United States? Which I answered with yes, of course. So the counselor, very nice man by the way, said, listen, let me find out what happened to your first application before I put this in. He called me on the phone next day that if I'm ready to go, everything is ready. So that's when I started to liquidate whatever I had, and I came to California. California I was living for 15 years before I came to Arizona. Beautiful country. I remember people saying in those days, Arizona is God's country. So, unfortunately, when I came to California, my wife fell ill. She had a blood clot in the brain, and she slowly wasted away. In those days, there were no CAT scans, and there were no remedy for those things. And, 1963, she passed away. But in 1964, I remarried, and then I had to come to Arizona because my new wife had a very bad case of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. But I'm here in Arizona. I'm happy in this country, this place, this place of the world.